Westwood One presents Ben Shapiro.
Yay, it's Total Eclipse Day, and this is the day when a guy comes back from the future and tells us all about it, and we give him all the power, just like in a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court.
A Westwood One podcast production. Ben Shapiro.
Kamala Harris tweets this out yesterday. She tweeted out, "Children are our nation's future. We must listen to them about what they care about and give them a voice in our government." So again, weird that she doesn't care about them up till the point where they're born. You know, up till that point, you can kill them at will. And in fact, if you stand in the way of somebody killing them at will, that means you're a bad person. But also, this notion that children are the nation's future, and so we have to listen to them about what they care about and give them a voice in our government. No. So, one of the big problems in Western civilization has been this weird notion that's really cropped up since Rousseau in the early 19th century, that children are worth listening to. Okay, children are worth taking seriously. Their questions are worth answering. I treat my 3-year-old with great seriousness. When she asks me a question, I try to give her the most factual answer that I can provide. But if she were to give me world advice, I would say, "You're 3, sit down and eat your crackers." Okay, it's ridiculous for anyone to suggest that children are what should be defining voice in government. See, the first sentence is that children are our nation's future. That's true. They are not our present, okay? They are not our nation's present. It is your job as an adult to help civilize children. Have you ever met a child? I wonder if people on the left have ever met a child. Like, really met a child. Children are the worst people on earth. Okay, they're wonderful, and they are also the worst people on earth. They have no prefrontal cortex development. They don't have the capacity for inhibition. That means that your child does stuff, or if an adult did it, you would immediately have them carted off to jail. Like on a routine basis.
Westwood One presents Andrew Klavan.
We've gotten so crazy. Did you hear the story about ESPN? Did you hear this? Robert Lee. I know. They took this guy. He's an Asian American and sports announcer named Robert Lee, and he was going to announce the UVA game, the University of Virginia game, Charlottesville. And so they took him off because his name was the same as the Confederate general. But they issued a clarification today. They actually did issue a clarification saying the problem is that he actually is the Confederate general. He has been hiding out as a statue all this time and then came back to life as an Asian man to bring back the Confederacy with all Asians this time. So it's really, it was a master plot. So luckily ESPN caught it in time.
A Westwood One podcast production. Westwood One presents Michael Knowles.
2 years after Mizzou caved to random student protests and demands for its president to resign, the university is reporting a 35% drop in enrollment and other huge consequences. We'll analyze the costs of coddling. Plus, roaming millennial Antonia Okafor and conservative millennial Ali Stuckey on an all-woman panel of deplorables to talk Afghanistan, the health effects of a mean boss on employee health, and Steve Mnuchin's rich wife. I'm Michael Knowles. This is The Michael Knowles Show.
It's the Hughley Truth Podcast.
Podcast of the interns of radio, is it?
Well, I gotta tell you, D, I'm just so proud of you, man.
Thank you, man.
People originally knew you as a comedian. You've now grown to be the voice of so many people. You speak truth, hence the Hughley Truth. With the Chris Crispy thing.
In theory, I could see why he'd want a beach to himself because he didn't want a harpoon in his back. Like, I think, like, beached whales have the beach to themselves all the time, but only Greenpeace pushed them back in the water. Like, that's... DL.
Did you see that sand sculpture that mocks Governor Christie's outfit?
It had to be all the sand in the Kalahari Desert. It had to be like, no one cared that you went to the beach with your chubby ass family. We cared about the fact that you denied other people the right to go with their families. But the notion that you would be so arrogant, I mean, true leadership means I'm going to lead by example.
It's the Hughley Truth Podcast. Get it now on iTunes or Google Play.
Westwood One presents The Hughley Truth with D.L. Hughley.
Welcome to the show, Simone Sanders. How are you, sweetie?
And can I finish, Simone? Will you just shut up?
He's a jackass.
You know, I'm good as long as nobody tells me to shut up today. Currently, at this moment in time, I think Donald Trump is a white supremacist sympathizer. And now we got white supremacy all up in the White House within our president.
I think that there's no equivocation. I think that you are what you allow.
The Hughley Truth at Apple Podcast and Google Play.
Things like hearing these words and watching what's happening make America have to see itself. And I think that the times that we have lurched forward, and I think it's been incremental, have been at times where there was nothing else to do but look at ourselves in America as a nation and decide if this is who we are. Are we this? I mean, are we this small? Are we this shallow? Are we this isolated? Are we this hateful? Are we this vengeful? Are we this myopic? We have to decide as a collective, as a nation, as a group of human beings, is this what we have intended? And we don't need to talk about the forefathers, they're dead and gone. The America we want as a nation, is this it? Is this the best reflection of it? Is this the best we can do? And if it's the best we can do, we have absolutely no choice but to accept that this is our path. If it is not, we have an obligation to try to change it.
The Hughley Truth at Apple Podcasts and Google Play. A Westwood One podcast production. Francis.
Testify.
Angela.
Amen to that.
Frangela.
If I throw some rice, what you gonna do? I'm gonna catch it and cook it.
Westwood One presents The Final Word with Frangela.
You got it.
While we are proud Afro-Saxons,
yes.
I believe that we're about to get really black.
What I hear that, man?
Good and black. I mean, blacker than black.
At Apple Podcasts and Google Play.
Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe and review.
Holla.
The Final Word.
That's right.
With Frangela. The Final Word.
The final word.
With Frangela.
The Final Word. Welcome to The Final Word with Frangela. I'm Francis Callier. And I'm her best friend, Angela V. Shelton. And that is just our names. Frangela is smushed together. And it's just Frangela because Ansis sounded like a foot fungus. It really did. So we went with Frangela.
It really did.
And we care about news, we care about pop culture, and we care about you being informed and energized to deal with them both. And that's why we came up with The Final Word. This is going to be the funniest podcast out there that's going to keep you up to date on everything going on in the news. We're going to watch the news so you don't have to. You got that movie, that date night you want to go on? Go ahead and go. Yeah. We'll stay up and watch C-SPAN too. Yeah. We'll do it. We're going to watch the boringest of the boring and bring it to you, but make it funny. See how we do that? We're going to make sure that not only are we all informed, but we're all ready to fight and resist the attack on our democracy and on our way of life and on everybody. We are united. This resistance is an interconnected joy fest of love, information, and protest. Yes. You will not be pessimistic. You will not be cynical, and you will be ready to answer any questions that anybody has. Let me tell you something. What we're gonna do? Frangela puts the fun in protest. That's right. Okay. There's no reason that protesting can't be fun. Right. There's no reason. You get your hat on. You know the hat I'm talking about. Right. Get your sign ready. Your good protesting hat. That's what I'm saying. Get your sign ready. Yeah. And you get out there and you'll be armed with the final word here on Westwood One. Real news, real funny.
I'm proud to announce the Jim Rome Podcast. I've wanted to do something like this for a long time. Long-form conversations. Derek Carr is my guest.
I woke up and my wife said, check your phone. Kobe Bryant had tweeted me, come back stronger than ever.
I'm curious, why was Kobe your guy?
He's the most competitive person I could ever find. I don't care who you put next to me. I'm going to bite your head off to try and win that game.
And, of course, some takes. Cavs fan, take it all back. Now would be a great time to hit the panic button. And some blasts. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to the rest of us. Get the help you need. That's not funny. That's scary. And some content that you have not heard before. Charles Barkley.
If I'm sitting around with you one night and somebody throw a drink on me and you, we gonna beat their ass down, Jim. I promise you that.
Now, this is not a radio show condensed and repurposed. This is fresh content. Nazis in 2017. So I figured I'd be able to make it through my entire career without ever having to talk about Nazis. But after what happened in Charlottesville over the weekend, that's now impossible. A new show. It's a different beast. It's going to be worth your time. Clayton Kershaw. So when you look back on last year's postseason, what kind of thoughts do you have?
Failure's no fun. I've gotten to fail a few times in the postseason. We like our chances this year. I'm excited about it.
So once again, make sure you're locked in on iTunes and Google Play. My advice to Zeke would be to sit out the rest of the summer. Put your feet up. Seriously. The career you save could be your own. Don't blow it, Zeke. The Jim Rome Podcast. Steve Smith Sr. joining us for a few more moments.
Nobody wants to be the fat guy. Like the guy you see on TV, like, whoa, that dude blew up. Especially when you're 5'9". You can look real fat on TV real quick.
The Jim Rome Podcast. It's easy to remember. It's going to be here August 29th. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
It's different, Jim. Every year you gain more experience and the game looks a little different to you.
You can take a few moments and maybe pop in some old Vlade Divac highlight tapes, maybe a Chuck Norris film or two.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I might even put on Under Siege and watch Seagal beat some people up or something.
The Jim Rome Podcast. August 29th. You're not going to want to miss this.
Thanks for the jungle karma, buddy.
A Westwood One podcast production.
Hey nerds, this is Jonathan London, the host of Geekscape, one of the internet's longest-running geek podcasts. We cover everything when it comes to the worlds of movies, video games, comic books, and pop culture, from one side of the galaxy to the other. There's been a total explosion of this stuff over the past 20 years, and it's really hard to wrap your head around it. That's what we're here for. Think of us like a geek squad for your ears. We've been around since 2006. Were there even podcasts back then?
Hi, Jason Stapleton here. Are you interested in political talk without all the rhetoric? You can find it on my podcast, The Jason Stapleton Program. We get 5-star ratings from iTunes because I keep it simple. Straight talk about the issues without the left or right leanings and bloated opinions. The Jason Stapleton Program is about American individualism, liberty-oriented discussions, and the clarity to think for yourself.
And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, with no coot, Jerry Springer.
Thank you. In 1 week. Thank you. 1 week later, it's 1 week later, and you all wore the exact same clothes.
So did you, Jer.
No one listening understands what you're talking about. Because the audience is not these.
Oh, he doesn't get that yet. We're not there yet, Gene.
He doesn't, yeah,
These microphones
It's only
work.
been 2.5 years.
It's only 2.5 years. He'll get there. He'll get there. It'll be okay.
But if you get a chance, listen to we have a podcast, right?
Is that what we do here?
Yes.
Is that why we're here?
I'm here just so I can get my coffee.
Oh, fair enough.
A Westwood One podcast production.